Hello again, everyone. It's Sean with Peep Tactical, and today we're taking a look at the Springfield Armory Hellion, a name after my own heart. All right, everyone, we're going to get into this review of this Hellspawn rifle in just a moment. But before we do, we would appreciate it if you would help us out. Hit that like and subscribe. Smash it. Don't pass it. Smash it. And let YouTube know you're hooked on our stuff. In exchange, we'll provide you with a cringy gun meme. Roll that beautiful bean footage. So just as an overview, what is the Springfield Armory Hellion? It's a bullpup. It has a lot in common with an AR-15, but just from looking at it, you can tell a lot of things have been moved around. Namely, the grip has been moved forward, and the barrel is kind of moved back in the configuration. This is over a 16-inch barrel, but this also creates a shorter overall length of the weapon. Now, this means that the magazine is back here, and so are the ejection ports. And it also changes some other things around, like the controls primarily. So the manual of arms is going to be quite a bit different, but there are those who find that there are advantages to the bullpup design that make it worth their while. We're going to review this one and let you know what we think about it. Let's talk about ergonomics. This is going to be interesting. One of the biggest advantages of this type of design is absolute ambidextrous nature. Starting in the back, you've got a length of pull adjustment here. You can absolutely increase the length of pull, and that's not something I commonly see on a lot of bullpups. Next, you've got a cheek riser height adjustment, and then underneath this is your actual bolt release. You've got to pinch this thing like, I don't know what you might want to call it, but you pinch this to release the bolt. Your mag release is right here. You push this button and it springs down right there. So that can obviously be gotten to on both sides. You see an ejection port here. This is an interesting feature on the Hellion in that it's mirrored on both sides. And with some configuration and changing some things around, you can absolutely make this gun eject to the left. Right now, it's set to eject on the right, but like I said, you can configure this how you like. Got a rail up here that runs down the fore end of the rifle. The fire control right here, I got a problem with this. Now I have 2X size hands. I can barely get my thumb onto that. I actually have to pull my wrist in or do something different. You could potentially use your trigger finger on the other side. Just the way that it's set way up high and at that angle, I have a hard time reaching that. If I had a longer mag in here, it might be even more challenging. But moving forward, here's the charging handle. It actually springs forward underneath the rail, totally tucked out of the way, and pulls back like this. So again, I'm going to show you the bolt release. Now, the cool thing about this is with this configuration, you can pull it back on the right too. So again, complete ambidextrous in nature. Moving forward from there, we've got the grip. This is a BCM grip. This is a really good grip, but because it's an AR-15 style grip, you can replace it with others. And then finally, the fore end on the front here, you've got 3 M-lock slots mirrored on both sides, and you also have some underneath if you want to mount some accessories there. And then a whole bunch of QD spots, QD up here, and then more like an HK style sling mount right there. We've also got flip-up sights that work really well. And finally up front, you get a 2-position adjustable gas system where you can set it for suppressed or for just standard shooting. So overall, the ergonomics are very interesting. The only thing that I see as a complete negative is just this, and I'm nitpicking a little bit, but I want to be able to get that fire control off and ready to shoot as quickly as possible. And this, I'm going to just have to work with it to see what I can come up with. And before I forget, this thing is heavy. It's on the order of 8 or 9 pounds, particularly with an optic. So for a 5.56 rifle, it's pretty beefy, and it's giving me a little bit of a workout just holding it out here for you. All right, working on reloads. Again, this is different manual of arms. So let's see how this goes. Okay. Aha, look at this, oldie but goodie. Now, there we go, up again. Out. So we have to, so you might as well strip like my good brother Emery would teach. Out. Nah, I've screwed that one up. Let's try that again. So empty mag, strip, feed, now pinch, strip, feed, pinch. Okay. Yeah, that's going to take some practice for sure. Where the Ides of March, Caesar? So I'm kind of curious, shooting from prone position unsupported, what that might look like. So I'm going to work my way down there and just see how it differs from a standard AR. Let's pinch the old nipple here. So I can teeter-totter off of the magazine. It's a little harder to get it stable into my shoulder. Yeah, so I get a lot more rocking than I would, I think, from an AR, but if I pull it in tight, that's a little better. Kind of hell on the eye relief, but you can adapt to it. It's just a different way of doing it. Now we're going to talk about the trigger. Traditionally, bullpups are not known to have the best triggers, partially because of the length of distance between the actual trigger control and the trigger itself. But we're going to try this one out and see what we think. So we got a bit of build right there, some pre-travel before we hit a defined wall, but the wall is very, I mean, it's right there, you can feel it. I'll go ahead and break the shot. There's a little bit of travel before, after you're breaking through the wall before it breaks. And then now we'll go to reset. Most of the distance back, maybe half the distance back, and a very defined reset, very audible and tactile. So again, that travel is all the way to there, and a little bit more. And then the shot breaks and reset right there. Pretty good. All right, on to accuracy. Now, some of the interesting challenges that come with a bullpup are going to include the height over bore. Look at the difference with this rail over the bore. So our zeroing has been a little more challenging. Our initial results are promising now that we're dialed in, but it took a lot of dialing to get to a zero. We're shooting at 100 yards and we're just testing MOA. We've got some kind of standard Remington practice ammo, but we also have some 69 grain Remington match, and we're going to shoot those for groups, and we'll show you guys what those look like here shortly. So it's interesting, there's definitely a lot more creep in the trigger after you hit that wall than when we first pulled on it. I think it's just an observation that now where I've got my sight on and I'm pretty well stable, but just a little bit of change at this distance obviously is going to make a big change downrange. And as I get past that wall and I'm pressing, it's making a little bit of a difference there. All right, let's head down and check those out. Well, on the days we shoot MOA, I'm definitely getting my steps, but it's all about extra information, right? We want to provide that to you, so be sure to head over to pewpewtactical.com to see the full review on the Springfield Armory Hellion. You'll get all the info. All right, final results on accuracy here. We've got two different groups for the Remington standard ammo that we shot, just practice ammo. We had this one here which was roughly 2 inches. And I'm shooting this with the Primary Arms Classic 1:6 LPVO. You know, that dot is covering up the entire diamond as I'm aiming in. It's not the most magnification, but it's pretty representative of the accuracy that you can wring out of this gun, I think. The other group was here. I had a couple really close together, and then, you know, down here about 3 inches roughly for that group there. Now finally switching to Remington match, the 69 grain, we're able to see a pretty good grouping here, closer into right around 2 MOA. That is not bad. I think the big tell is the trigger. It's good, but again, like I said, once you get to that wall and you finally start squeezing back to break that shot, it's not crisp. It's not like a snap that is going to take that snapshot of that target picture that you have in the scope. So, but it's still very, very reasonable for a bullpup, I think, and roughly 2 MOA on average. Okay, our final thoughts on the Springfield Armory Hellion. Pretty cool rifle. Now for me, I've got a lot of hours spent on the manual of arms and AR-15, so this is difficult for me. When I switch over and start having to do a different process for either loading or reloading, especially when I put myself under a little bit of stress with some drills, I completely fall apart. But I found a path where ultimately after I practiced a few times, I could get it. I could absolutely get it down. The charging handle, it's kind of like the AR-15 in the sense that you shouldn't be using it unless you're just finally loading it or you're loading for the first time or you have some kind of issue. So I like the fact that it's out of the way once you charge a round in. You don't have to mess with it anymore. The ergos on the grip are good, but the fire control is still a little problematic. I got used to it, but it's not as easy to reach as I would like for it to be. Other than that, the recoil impulse was soft. It's a heavier gun and it's kind of balanced more centrally, I would think. That helps to mitigate some of that recoil. So, and still, it's a 5.56. It's not going to be an enormous recoil, but it's pretty tame comparatively. And then I think also the fact that you have a true ambidextrous gun is pretty cool. You can completely convert this to a left side ejection. You've got all the room in the world to make this a full left shooter if you so choose. Cheek riser was a little disappointing. I think I was able to get it to go into the upper position, but it wouldn't really stay there and it kind of rocked back and forth. It also grabbed my beard a few times and I wasn't too tickled about that. But overall, I think this is a really cool rifle. And they're selling now for around $1,700. Now, they've been out for a while, and they were higher than that, but I checked a few online retailers, and we're right around $1,700. So, hey, we appreciate you watching this review. We want to remind you one more time, please hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate your support. Jump down in the comments. Let us know what you think about the Springfield Armory Hellion. We'll see you next time.